All right, it is time for my week in film. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. This is going to be me sharing about the movies that I watched this week, just as the title would suggest, and then any other film-related things that may have come up. I'm really happy that I ended up seeing 3 movies this week. It was a pretty full week, and there's lots of stuff going on, so 3 actually felt pretty good. I don't actually have a goal of how many movies to see a week. I think I want to at least see 1 new movie a week. I have lots of film goals, but not that one. That's a little too small. Like I used to have that. I used to have, the goals change over time with the bigger goal of what you're doing. Right now, I just want to see more movies, and I actually am starting to collect some ideas for film goals for next year, but I do want to stay present in this year. There's still 3 months and a bit left, and lots more movies to hopefully see and enjoy. And I've actually completed a lot of my film goals. So anyway, I am off topic already. So let's get to the movies. The first one is The World Gone Mad. I watched it as a part of this 50 horror classics collection that I'm working my way through. I'm actually now down to only 4 movies left. So I think I'm going to definitely make a push to finish it. But one of the reasons why I tend to watch movies in this is, one, they're pretty short. They tend to be around an hour and 10 minutes kind of thing. But also I tend to watch stuff in this collection when my internet is really spotty, and that's why I watched The World Gone Mad. I actually really wanted to be watching other things, but my internet was not having it, so I'm like, okay, I just don't have the patience to watch the circle, it's spinning, so let's watch it. So I thought, okay, let's watch a horror movie, let's do this. So with that title, I thought, okay, World Gone Mad, maybe there's some kind of outbreak, maybe it's some kind of disaster, maybe there's some kind of someone stranded on an island, or last person on Earth or something like that. And so here is the poster. Yeah, not anything like that. This is totally a gangster movie. I think it's listed as mystery on IMDb. I don't know if there's enough in there for you to figure out the whole mystery, but yeah, this is a gangster movie. This is about politicians and gangsters and journalists and crime and corruption and bribes and murder. It's not a horror movie. Like, some of those things are horrible, but it's not, generally speaking, how we think of as horror movies. So I was disappointed. Yeah. So some of the details about this: it's from 1933. It is black and white. Was directed by Christy Caban. Stars Pat O'Brien, Evelyn Brent, Neil Hamilton, and there's 2 more people on the poster: Mary Bryan and Louise Calhern. So yeah, this really follows, politicians and news agents, not news agents, journalists and people, and trying to vie for power, money, and those kinds of things. They are not themes that interest me at all. Gangster movies are one of my least favorite movies of all time. I just really don't see the draw. There are always exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, I am not interested. So this was not a good fit. It just didn't. I did like this really. I found some joy in the highly stylized dialogue, the really fast talking journalists on phones, calling this person, calling that person. And then there was a lot of phone calling or going to people's apartments, because the tech is it's from 1933. So basically you would phone everyone or just show up at someone's door. So that was interesting to see. And there was a fair amount of intrigue and shenanigans, but I just wasn't interested enough in terms of the plot to follow who was who and who was allied to who, not allied, but who is, I can't think of another word for that, who is aligned with who and blah. I just was no, and it was already in a bad mood. So unfortunately, I feel like I don't even that's not even a review, which is why I never say these are reviews. These are more reactions and sharing the experience of. So this was not a good fit, but it kept me occupied on a day that I was not in a great mood, but it wasn't even, I guess it allowed me to have something to react to when I was already in not a good mood. So maybe that was what its purpose was for that moment. It just wasn't a good fit. And then I wanted to watch something And I like using Canopy. I think I mentioned it last time when I talked about Farewell to Arms, which, by the way, A Farewell to Arms is actually public domain. I was very surprised. I think the license wasn't renewed. So I'll leave a link to, if you want to watch Farewell to Arms, I'll leave a link to it down below because it is part of the public domain. Who knew? Yeah, I think there is like a limitation on it or something for like the music or something. But anyway, generally speaking, it's public domain. So anyway, I was browsing through Canopy and I was trying to find something to watch, and I was wanting to watch something that wasn't too long. Sometimes some services that's really easy to tell, some services that's not. Canopy, it's not. I had to look it up on my phone on IMDb, and so I was cross-referencing. Again, not in a good mood. And so I was just, okay, fine, whatever. I'm gonna watch this movie. It's Criterion. It's, gonna be good, I guess, because it's Criterion. So I picked Le Samouraï. This is from 1967. It is directed by Jean-Pierre Melville, and it stars Alain Delon, D-E-L-O-N, as Jeff Costello, or Jeff. She said his name so, like, softly, Jeff. I can't remember. And this is neo-noir. So, and I kind of, that being said, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, sort of. It's called Le Samouraï, but it's actually about a hitman, and he's very deadpan, like his character, all of the reviews sort of say impassive, I think is the word to describe him, and I can't get to the next slide. And I think that this one works a bit better with the lighter backgrounds aren't as good on recording. But anyway, so this was about a hitman, and he had a job and someone that he had to take care of. Not take care of, but take care of. And, and so we see him setting things up and all of this kind of stuff. And then it happens, and then what happens? And then things start to unravel, and, one misstep and, gotta have conflict. So I wanted to watch something that was short because I wanted to watch at least 2 movies in one night. And this one was so slow. The pacing was so slow. Like, it was highly stylized, and it was very much watching. There's not tons of dialogue in this. You could easily, I imagine there would easily be spans of time, 5-10 minutes with no dialogue. It's just watching him very slowly and methodically and very cool. It's very sleek in terms of like him setting things up and stuff like that. And I guess it's supposed to be impressive and yada yada. Did not work for me. I'm not denying that it isn't a good, I'm not saying it's not a good movie. I'm just saying I didn't enjoy it. The pacing was just so slow, and I just felt like he was too cool for school. And like, I just, the whole being unaffected by things, I don't find that cool. I mean, like, you're a human. Where's your heart? Where's your emotions? What do you care about? Do you care about anything? But it is stylistic. It's neo-noir. It's supposed to be like that. And I can definitely see how this influenced other films, and other films that I'm sure are ones that I loved, like The Professional or Leon, by Luc Besson with Jean Reno, which is a hitman movie, which I love. It's one of my favorite movies. I can't remember if it's in my top 5 or my top 10, but it's in my real top 5 or top 10. Not my top 10. That's like 50. It's like, it might even be 2. I'm not sure. I love that movie. And on the Wikipedia page, they talked about how this influenced like Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, which again I loved, and the pacing of that one is very unique, and there's so many moments in that film that I really, really love and remember, but from this one I wasn't getting it. So I think that's also something that happens when films are influential. Sometimes when you see them so many years later, right? Because this is from 67, so we're talking the math, 50, 60, no. Is it? No, 30 plus 3, 33 plus whatever year we're in now, 21, so 33 and 21. Is that right? 54? Potentially? Around then. Between 50 and 60. So I think, yeah. So anyway, but like, so I think, if I saw it like earlier, like before I had seen the movies it influenced, I would have probably had a different reaction. Also, just the timing wasn't great. And over the years, I have seen lots of crime movies. I've seen lots of gangster movies, and there are some that I enjoy, but generally speaking, I'm kind of done with it as a genre. I don't like seeing that side of things. I don't like seeing, people kill for money, especially in this, dispassionate way. I don't connect to it. And so, yeah, it was kind of interesting to see some of the tech and some of the surveillance because it is from the 60s. It was actually a little forward. Some of the things were forward. They had like car phones, but even just surveilling and the plan of having to track things, that was interesting, I thought, a little bit. But I also, to be honest, I had a little bit of a hard time trying to figure out whether or not, as the viewer, we're supposed to be rooting for the protagonist or not. And I found that uncomfortable, and maybe that's purposeful. Maybe it's part of what the genre is about. I'm not sure. But I did find it like, if I knew we're supposed to be rooting for him because he's so slick and so cool or whatever, that's one thing. If we knew that we were wanting him to get caught, that's another thing. But if I was trying to figure out, who do I care about here? And he doesn't care about anyone, so why should I care about him? I don't know. So it was not a great fit. That being said, it was on a list of films that have received 100% from Rotten Tomatoes. So that was actually cool. So because I did a bit of digging on Wikipedia after watching it, because I was kind of like, I don't get it, right? And it's Criterion, and you feel like Criterion should always be good, like, Rashomon, Seven Samurai, Seven Seal, like, there's so many, and there's another one, Persona. But not everything's going to be a fit with everyone. Anyway, but looking at the list of films with 100% on Rotten Tomatoes was really cool. It's just under 400 titles. I'll leave it down below if you want to peruse it. It has, more titles from current years than previous years, but it had a wide variety of genres. It had things like Drugstore Cowboy, A Room with a View, Tom Popo, which I haven't seen. That's one of those on those lists, and I think it was on my list, and I never got to it, one of the old lists that I was working on. And Crazy from 2005, which is a Canadian film, which is so good. And also Man on Wire, which if you haven't seen Man on Wire, and you have the opportunity to do so, see it. It is... Yeah, it's a 100% movie. I can't imagine someone not enjoying that film. And that actually does have a bit of a crime heist element to it, and it's a documentary. So it's crime isn't always a no, but it was for me with this one. So anyway, so that's one of the reasons why I never say always yes, always no to any genre, because there are exceptions, and but that one unfortunately wasn't. And then last up, I have a rewatch. I finally got to continue my Star Wars rewatch, and I watched Solo, which is a Star Wars story. This is from 2018. Directed by Ron Howard, which I always forget that is directed by Ron Howard, and I really enjoyed rewatching this. I think I've only seen it once, and it's one of the few Star Wars movies I never saw in the theater, and I think that was impacted by the fact that it didn't get good reviews. And I'm just kicking my previous self for that, because seriously, I love Star Wars so much, I don't care what other people say. I want to see it and make up my own mind. So that was a bad decision from the past. But anyway, so I did see this after it came out, like whenever it was available to buy or rent. And I don't think I've seen it since. And I'm rewatching the whole series, and I put this in between the original trilogy and the new trilogy, even though technically I think it would be before Rogue One. In terms of when the films came out, I feel like it fits in between those two trilogies, because we get to see Han in a different light, and sort of seeing him between those two times sort of felt right. Like, you want to know who he was from the original trilogy, even though this is his history before that. This is sort of like the origin story of Han Solo. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. It's very adventurous. I actually did not remember the plot that well. There's so many moments where he just really captures the character, whether it's what he says or it's his enthusiasm, and you can see he's sort of more enthusiastic and more like green than he is later in the chronology, but the spirit of his character I really felt was there. So it was an enjoyable watch. There's some things that I was not a huge fan of this or that, but there's, generally speaking, like, it's still, for me, in terms of a Star Wars movies, it's still, I can't remember what I rated it, probably 4.5. Like, it's not like original trilogy level, but very, very enjoyable, well done, no glaring issues I found, and there's some wonderful moments and connections with characters, and like throughout that, like from the series, and just, I don't know, it was a great bridge movie, I think. So that actually means that I can start the new trilogy and watch it all together, which I have never done before. I don't know, maybe I should do that like on one weekend, like watch it like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or pick a whole day and watch it all. They're all like over 2 hours. I don't know if I can do that. So anyway, so I am excited, and I really hope to finish that by the end of the year. I have several film series I'm trying to work my way through this year. I don't know if I'm gonna get any of them done, but now I'm one step closer with Star Wars, and that feels really good. So there you go. There are the movies that I watched this week. I'm actually really impressed that I got to see that many, given it's when I watched this, it was in lead up to the Canadian election. So I spent a lot of time watching the election coverage and the federal debate, both the English version, the English debate, as well as one of the French ones, and I watched a lot of the one-on-ones and a lot of the lead up, and so this is going up after the election, but yeah, I'm impressed that I ended up watching that many movies, and we're in between TV because the Canadian TV has been released, the new series seasons, and then the American stuff starts on actually the day of the Canadian election, which totally sucks. I'm going to miss all of the Monday premieres on the 20th because I will be watching the election coverage because, you know, I have to see what happens. By this point, we'll know, I imagine. It probably won't know on Monday because of the mail-in, but, you know, by Tuesday, hopefully we will. So anyway, so yeah, I pre-filmed these just a little bit, and because I think Fridays are a pretty good day to release these in case you're looking for film suggestions for the weekend. Let me know if that is good timing, or if it makes a difference one way or the other. And yeah, so that's what I watched. I talked more than I expected to. Whoops, even only 3 movies and I talk a lot. Is anyone surprised? Not me. Probably no one. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon with another video.